Good morning, Aston. Champ Talk is back. 98.5. Hope y'all are doing good. I'm here with Justice Brovero.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Renzo could not make it today, but we got a good show for you guys this year. We're excited to get back to it, get back on the radio station. It's football season, baby. Nothing better than that. You ready, Justice? How you feeling being full-time now?
Pretty good. I'm ready to talk about some football.
Okay.
It's back, Can't complain.
It's the best time of year for you Giants fans.
Yeah, no, don't talk about it.
Because you don't get much football during the other part of the year.
Okay.
We're going to talk about just some news and notes around the league, reactions to Thursday night, looking forward to Friday and the rest of the weekend. Get into some betting lines, and later we're going to talk starts and sits for fantasy. And then we're going to do our big bets segment where we're going to bet on players we think are going to have massive years for fantasy. So it's a good little episode, and we'll get right into it. So do you want to just start off right with the Kansas City? I feel like that's what else is there to talk about right now?
It's not really a shocker. I mean, you put Xavier Worthy on that team. I feel like that was just a steal of the draft. It's another Tyreek Hill, just super fast.
I don't know if it was a steal, but it's one of those guys where it's the perfect guy in the perfect spot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm surprised that the Bills didn't actually pick him up and they picked up Keon Coleman instead. But still, for him to be on that team, it's just a perfect fit. So, and Rashee Rice getting back into what he was doing.
Oh, my. He's going to be insane this year fantasy-wise. Like, I don't know if there's going to be people who get a higher volume than him more consistently. One of the biggest things I saw since we're talking about the Chiefs is the lack of production for Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I mean, it's good.
Big time blocker this game, and
it's
didn't really get
it's
all
gonna
the
come
targets.
from that, though. I feel like, because now they're gonna start targeting him, and then out of nowhere, everyone's gonna have to worry about Rice and Worthy. So I feel like he's gonna start getting targets and stuff like that. So
yeah, I'm not too worried about it for like long term fantasy value looking at it that way, but it's definitely a little concerning. I mean, I was also I wasn't drafting Travis Kelce anywhere this year.
No.
I didn't think he was looking amazing or situated to have an insanely good year.
I mean, he was being picked up in like second, early third, so I wasn't trying to waste a pick on that early. So
I much rather would have gone after Kincaid or McBride. And
I mean, yeah,
I think McBride's going to be
I was getting
tight end
McBride
one,
in a lot of my leagues, so for him to drop that low for me, I was able to pick him up.
So one of the biggest things I think for me, just talking regular football from that game that I noticed, or two things. One, Lamar Jackson's play. I'll get back to that in a second, but first we'll talk about just the number of calls, the number of holds. It was insane how many times those guys got the same penalties repeatedly.
Yep.
But it actually, great job by the NFL, in my opinion, to finally get some, to finally hold some people accountable and make the call every time to try to fix this change. Or make this change, because you looked last year, you had guys, especially the tackles, lining up 3 yards back just so these fast DNs didn't get around. And honestly, I thought the watch value of yesterday's game was back up to where I want to watch regular NFL regular season football.
Yeah, I feel like there were a couple missed calls, but you're gonna get that, and everyone's gonna complain that it's the Chiefs, they get everything going their way. There was a couple missed calls, but like you said, for the most part, I feel like it was called pretty well. So you can't complain about that. Another part from that is, what about Mark Andrews just being zero productive in that game?
I don't think Mark Andrews was game ready yet.
No.
Like, you heard about he had the broken leg last year.
Yeah.
I don't think he was fully healthy yet. Like, I don't think he was football conditioned yet, but I think he's back at 100%. I think he'll have some more production in the coming weeks. I think Isaiah Likely's the big name to take out of this game.
That's going to be a waiver wire right there. A lot of people are going to pick him up.
My dad is going to rub it in my face because he went out and got Likely everywhere. I mean, he had a great training camp. All you would read about is how good his training camp was. He's basically a glorified wide receiver.
Yeah.
And he'll probably be the wide receiver. I was saying 2 last night, but he might be the wide receiver 1 for this offense because he's really good.
Yeah.
And he's a matchup nightmare. He's quick. He looks like he knows the game better than last year. So he's going to be a guy who's really interesting to go and search for in the future.
I picked him up last year late when Mark Andrews got hurt. Got a lot of value out of him.
But like, even compared to last year when he was the starting tight end, I think he looks even wildly
even
better.
better. Yeah, faster, more quick, stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and he really, you could tell he knows the game a lot better. Which brings me to my last point. Lamar Jackson folding at the end of the game to sell for the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, it just comes back to I'm not a Lamar fan. I've never been a Lamar fan. I think he's great for fantasy. I mean, he had over 100 rushing yards. Skinny Lamar's back. He looks quick. I'm not going to lie. But he also looks like, I don't know how somebody just doesn't lay him on his butt, on his ass.
Too elusive. That's the thing. I mean, you got that with a lot of skinny guys. They're just, you can't get them down.
But it's like, if he gets hit one time big.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's going to hurt. He's going to get hurt. But the problem is he doesn't get hit big.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, in that last drive, those last 3 downs on the 10-yard line, he missed 3 throws.
Yeah, and
to lose the game.
I was reading a lot of people are blaming him for the loss, but I mean to almost have 400 yards on offense for himself. I mean, you can't really put all the blame on him.
But he missed those last 3 throws big time.
He's got to make those throws, but at the same time to produce 400 yards on the ground and in the air is crazy.
Also a rare Justin Tucker miss.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. I was watching.
It's 53, but
still for him to miss
missing.
Yeah, he doesn't miss. That's automatic.
Yeah, but Lamar overthrows, likely in the back of the end zone because he has no touch on the ball over the top. Then misses wide open Zay Flowers, throws it behind him.
Yep.
And then overthrows, likely almost made an insane grab. And it wasn't a bad throw, but you could tell likely was still feeling it from the last drive where he didn't want to. He kind of turned away.
Yeah. I think that was where he had to put the ball, just likely wasn't able to get his feet down. And people that think that he was in bounds are crazy because you could clearly see his foot was out.
Foot was online.
But
did you see Mahomes saying wear white cleats next time?
Mahomes told him to wear white cleats. I mean, a lot of players do that. So.
Yeah, but it was a good game. I thought it was a good way to bring football back. And I think tonight's game will be will be good.
I think it's going to be the same.
Underratedly good. Yeah. I really like the Eagles this season. Even though I'm not an Eagles fan, I know you're not either, which is horrible for the people we're talking to right now. But I'll give Philly some love right now.
They just gotta. New coordinators. They gotta run the ball. Last year they didn't run the ball at all. I think it's a make or break year for Sirianni. I think if he does well, he stays, and I think if he underperforms, he's gonna be out.
I think they'll have a very good year though. Anybody who says they're gonna have to battle with Dallas for the division, they're gonna win the division outright and easily.
Maybe. You just got to see if Saquon's healthy.
Are the Giants going to?
No, I don't think the Giants are going to. And I don't think the Commanders are. I think it's going to be between them. I think it'll be a good race.
I think most of their problems are the offensive coordinator and their play calling. I think Sirianni should have done more to kind of help that, and he didn't.
He's more of a player's coach to me, though.
He's more of like what a head coach should be.
Yeah, he's not
managing the team.
He's not making the calls. He's just there to be, but.
Yeah, but I thought their offensive and defensive play calling last year really is what sold them because they were really good when they were running their slants. They were getting A.J. Brown the ball, and then all of a sudden they decided to go QB design power runs where he would hesitate 5 seconds and then run.
It's like I remember the one game I was watching, I think they were losing by, I don't know what it was, but they had 3 QB design runs when they had who did they have? DeAndre Swift. I was like, run the ball with him.
Swift is good too.
He's been running the ball a game.
He's been tanking on the fantasy charts lately, and I'm like,
well, who else do they have on that team?
Who?
They have another running back.
The Bears?
Yeah.
No, they have like Roshan Johnson and they have Foreman.
He'll be
the clear one.
Yeah, but Roshan Johnson will be the goal line back, right?
No, they won't. I think everything goes to Swift this year.
Okay.
That's why I'm so confused why he's not. I think people are worried that it's overcrowded and that they have a rookie quarterback. I think Swift's talent has been continually dragged under the rug.
Well, another fantasy little weird thing going on is Kyron Williams now taking punt returns, and a lot of people are worried about that.
Yeah.
That his touches might be limited now. But I
think in some dynasty leagues it's going to be better for him. But I think, McVay said it. They're going to run him as much as they can. And I'm not out on Kyron.
No, I had a draft 2 nights ago and I picked him up again after hearing that. I'm high on him. I think he's going to be really good. I think him on that punt return, maybe he'll get 2 punts a game. You know, if that's because he's not taking every punt. So
and half the time these guys just fair catch it.
A lot of people overreacting. So it is what it is.
I mean, now that you bring it up, I totally forgot about it. But the new kick rule.
Oh.
Teams are just saying, sure, take it at the 30. I mean, Bucker kicked it out every single time.
Yeah.
Because you're closer. And he just drilled it through the. He just kicked it out of bounds.
What's an extra 5 yards? You know what I mean? Like that's the thing.
And then the risk to reward of kicking it into play, it's not even worth it.
No, because if they catch a seam, who's going to try and tackle him?
Exactly. The
kicker,
2 times.
It's the only kicker is the only guy that's going to make the tackle.
The 2 times that they actually kicked it into play, I think it got brought out to the 35 and the 35 or 30 again. It's like you're basically just taking the 30, so might as well just kick it out of bounds and take no risk with it.
I think the whole thing is kind of dumb. I just don't like the idea of it. What's the point of it? It's
keeping guys safer, I guess, but
at the same time, half the time no one was returning the kicks last year because you were.
Yeah, and they're trying to get guys to return more kicks.
Yeah,
but it's kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Okay, let's get into some lines. We're gonna talk about some betting lines. We're gonna talk about who we think's gonna win against the spread, and then some interesting like receivers, running backs, their rushing or receiving totals.
Yeah. First, we have Packers-Eagles tonight. Packers are plus 110, and the spread is 1.5. I feel like this is just a pick-me game. There's really no.
They're plus. What are they?
Plus 1.5, but the money line's plus 110. So. It's just a pick-me game at this point.
Yeah,
it's
who you think's
gonna
win?
Is gonna win. There's not.
Honestly, I think the Packers come out. Oh no, I think the Eagles come out with this one.
It's two high-powered offenses. The only thing with the Packers is, I mean, they had a good run last year. I just don't know if they're gonna do it again.
Yeah, I think they're gonna be good. I love their offensive weapons. I think Jaden Reed's gonna have a fantastic year. Christian Watson,
Josh
hopefully
Jacobs
rebounding
back now on that team.
Yeah,
and he's healthy after a full camp and everything like that. Because he was first. He almost got the Triple Crown 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, 2 years ago. And I mean, they're crapping on the guy because he literally was on the Raiders.
Yeah. I mean, he got that, and then he sat out for camp, so he didn't get any time, practice in the beginning of the season. And I think he sat out a couple games in the beginning of the season. So
yeah, and it's so hard to come into a year when you sit out camp. That's why Christian McCaffrey, I mean, he kind of excludes it for me. But, guys like Jamar Chase and CeeDee Lamb, I don't think they're going to get to as hot as starts as people are hoping they're going to.
I feel like it's different for a wide receiver than it is a running back because you're relied solely on the running back too. There's other wide receivers on the team. So I think that's what is kind of easier. And these guys are definitely training by themselves in the offseason. I mean, you see CeeDee Lamb all the time.
Yeah, but it's it's not the same.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
If I had to take one team, I think this is going to be a close game, but I would take the Eagles. Personally, I just wouldn't bet on this game.
No, I want to go with Packers just because there's value in it.
Yeah.
You get some money back, but I think.
Is there any good lines?
What do you mean?
Receiving, throwing.
I'll look at that in a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just gonna be a toss up. 2 high-powered offenses.
Yeah.
And I think the Eagles have the edge on defense, so maybe the Eagles pull it out, but who knows? And then next we have Vikings Giants, another little toss up game. 1.5 spread for both. The Vikings are favored currently. I just don't. Another game that's a throw up.
Who's at home?
It's the Giants. Giants are home. I mean, they're a better team than they were last year. They have their starting quarterback, I put in quotations, back. And I feel like the Vikings just don't have a quarterback. Who is it, Sam Darnold?
Yeah. I like honestly, I think Sam Darnold will be fine. If you really look at Sam Darnold, he has shown flashes of good play and with horrendous teams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think even though they're away, I think Minnesota pulls out this win by a decent margin. I think Sam Darnold impresses after spending a year in San Francisco. So this is actually a game I'm kind of excited to watch. I mean, yeah, you're going?
Yeah, I'm going.
Forgot you said that.
I think it'll be good, like you said.
I think Daniel Jones got to have a breakout year since he's dating that girl now.
My whole thing is everyone hates him. And I'm not the biggest Daniel Jones fan. I mean, I got to like him because he's my quarterback.
Yeah.
But for what he did with this team 2 years ago, with only having, Saquon Barkley and then having no offensive line, he took a team to the playoffs, beat the Vikings, who were on a tear. So,
and I think Neighbors is insane.
I
mean, you're looking at with Neighbors and Marvin Harrison, you're looking at another Jamar Chase coming in. Like that level of wide receiver. That's why guys in keeper leagues, I'm confused how he's not getting drafted first round.
My thing, I like the Neighbors pickup. I think a lot of people were saying Rome was another guy. I don't think Rome is on the same tier.
I don't think he's on the same tier as those other two. After watching this preseason, I think he's very good.
Yeah.
Like definitely a wide receiver one.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with you.
And Marv's just on a different level because he's done. Like he's his dad. You know what I mean? So he's got that football background.
His size too is just insane.
Yeah. But so you've got Vikings. I'm gonna take Giants just because.
You gotta.
That's my Giants. I can't bet against them.
But I'll tell you this, I'm not taking the Patriots for.
All right, next we got Panthers Saints. The spread is 4. Panthers are not favored as usual, but it's obvious it's the Saints.
Yeah,
They're just an overall better team. The Panthers, what did they add this year? They didn't. What did they have their first round pick? They didn't, right?
No first. But they did add some good talent, some good offensive linemen. Oh no, they did. They had Leggett. They had a first,
but nothing that's gonna really. I mean, because they still...
Leggett will be good. I think they're going to be a much improved offense. They added Deontay Johnson. They added Leggett. Looking fantasy-wise, I think he has some playable guys. I think Deontay Johnson was highly undervalued in drafts this year. He'll be a good wide receiver 3.
He won't be 3, though, right?
What?
He won't be the 3. He'll be 2, right?
No, like a fantasy wide receiver 3.
Yeah,
Johnson will be the 1.
Yeah, because then you have Thielen, who's going to be your 2, and then
2 or 3. Yeah, I think Thielen kind of fades this year. I think Leggett takes a step. I mean, I think he'll be a decent, solid player.
Thielen was a sleeper last year. I picked him up for the first 4 games, and he was averaging about 25 points a game. So I was happy.
Yeah,
about
and then he fell off because Bryce Young got
Bryce Young
murdered. It's like the it's one of the things where you're kind of throwing your quarterback to the wolves when you give him an offensive line of like handicapped.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, what are you gonna do there?
No, yeah. And now to the Saints, I feel like the Saints are just I don't know.
They got a good
offense,
solid defense, and an okay offense.
You have
Carr's horrible.
Alvin Kamara fully on a full year, like he's gonna play all season. He's gotta stay healthy, which he's had trouble with. But great receiving back, great rushing back. And then Olave is another great player.
I think Olave is a good guy. I think they've had some good camp reports about Raheed Shaheed too, and blanking on his name, A.T. Perry. So it's going to be interesting to see if they actually raise the level of this offense. I can't see their head coach being there another year.
No.
Like if they don't win division, which I think it's easily
who was it? It used to be
Tampa's.
Who was the Saints?
Oh no, coach? I think the Falcon. Isn't it still Allen? I'm blanking, and my computer is.
Wasn't it Drew Brees' old coach? Was that him?
No, it used to be Sean Payton.
That's it. Okay.
He's in Denver now.
That's
Oh my God, I'm blanking on who the head coach is.
I got it right here. Dennis Allen.
I don't know how he's there for another year. I said Allen. I
you
had
were close.
It. Yeah. Yeah. I'd take New Orleans in this game. I don't think the money. I don't think none of these games are really appetizing or like asking me to bet on them.
I think a 4 spread is a little generous for the Panthers. I think that 4 spread, they're going to kill that. I think they win by at least 10.
I think they win by a touchdown.
So if you want to make that your own number, you can get a little more value from it. Next, we have Jaguars-Dolphins.
Jags-Dolphins.
Another little pick-me game, I feel like. The Jags have a lot of Brian Thomas Jr., probably going to be the wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
I think he'll be really good on that team.
It's crazy that Kirk is probably going to be technically the wide receiver 3.
Which is, I mean.
Because he's not, I don't know if they're running him out in 2 wide receiver sets.
Yeah, because you got Ridley still out there who looks healthy.
No, Ridley's on Tennessee.
Oh, that's right.
They got Gabe Davis now.
Yeah, that's what it was. I think he'll take over Gabe Davis' spot then.
It's not even, I just think Gabe Davis is a really good blocker. So they'll have him on 2 wide receiver sets, but I see them running mainly 3 wide receivers and a tight end with Ingram.
Yeah.
I don't know, this game, I'm taking the Jaguars against the spread. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Dolphins are coming in a little overrated.
They're always overrated.
Their defense isn't as good. They don't really play good against winning teams. You can look at all last year. So I'm taking the Jaguars.
Well, and is Chubb back? I'm not sure if Bradley Chubb, remember he got hurt against the Jets late in the season.
I can't tell you honestly. I had no clue.
Yeah, but so who knows? All right, next one we have Texans Colts.
I love it. This is gonna be a really fun game to watch. You got Anthony Richardson. You got C.J. Stroud.
C.J. Stroud.
Oh God, why did I thought
You're
that
thinking
sounded?
Bryce Young, right?
No, I was. It just sounded wrong for some reason.
Nah, it's
C.J. Stroud, and then it's gonna be interesting to see that high-powered Texans offense. Like I'm really interested to see, and I'm really looking forward to seeing those Colts wide receivers, Donnie Mitchell and Pittman, and see where they actually fall fantasy-wise.
And JT.
Well, I just know JT's a dog,
Yeah,
but
but I mean the Texans now have Joe Mixon, which is a great pickup for them. I mean they had Singletary last year, who produced. He had almost 1,000 yards, and I think he only played like 10 games.
Yeah,
or something like that.
I think Mixon will be really good.
Yeah, and I think Stephon Diggs, as much as I hate him, I think he's going to be good wide receiver 3. I don't think he'll be the 2. I think
he'll be the 3, which
Yeah.
I don't. It's hard. All I've heard is that he's like the alpha in camp, and I still think it's going to be Tank Dell who comes out with the most receptions and yards this year.
Nico is going to be the one.
Or not yards, touchdowns.
I think Nico is going to be the one coming out,
Yeah.
and then I think Dell's going to be the 2. But he's so young, and Dell's got to stay healthy. Got hurt last year, but hopefully he stays healthy. He's a great player.
I'm taking Houston here. I the spread only being Houston -3. I think that's great.
Who is it?
Early.
Next I have the Patriots and Bengals.
Oh, give me the Pats.
Fan favorite over here.
Just kidding. I'm taking the Bengals -8.5.
I don't know. That 8.5 is a little. If Jacoby Brissett wasn't starting, I would think about taking that 8.5. But you're right. I don't know why they're not starting Drake May.
Because I think there's no point of feeding him to the Wolves. Like I said, probably one of the worst offensive lines in the recent Patriots history. It's going to be interesting to see how they actually play, but it's not a good offensive line. I think their defense is very underrated, though. I mean, they were basically a top 5 to 10 defense last year. And
Gonzalez is back finally, right?
Yeah, Gonzalez.
I love
he's
him.
insane. He's so good. And you're still 3 cornerbacks deep. So I think the Patriots defense a bit underrated, but this Bengals offense and this Bengals team overall, it's just a very good team. I think they're going to come out and really show.
Yeah.
They're still one of the teams to compete in this league, especially with Joe Burrow.
They still have T. Higgins. He got the contract, right? Or did he get his contract, or is he just playing?
He's on a 1 year T. And I think Jamar Chase plays. He was suited up for practice the other day.
I don't see why you wouldn't. Next we have Titans Bears at 3.5. Another game I don't know if I want to touch.
I'd take the Bears. I actually think the Bears are going to win this by a decent margin. I think the Titans are going to come out and throw a bunch. Taking that Cincinnati offense, I think Will Levis is not very good.
No,
he's like just a one speed. You're getting a laser. You're getting nothing. But I think both teams are going to be kind of surprises this year with how good they do. The Bears, I really see them being very good this year. I mean, you're talking about a top 8 defense from last season, and you're adding an offense to it.
Yeah.
I think no matter what, Caleb Williams is going to be better than Justin Fields was. I mean, you look at some of the plays he makes in the preseason games. I mean, some were like head scratching. Oh my God.
Yeah.
How do you make that play? And some were head scratching. Like
you always got the people saying, "Oh, it's preseason," but it's still a game. They're still playing. I don't know. I'm not bought on him yet. I think he's got a lot to prove. I think he's overhyped for just coming out of college, and people,
I don't know.
I mean,
some
people
of the
are
throws
ranking
are
him
crazy
already. Like, did you see his number got retired over in USC?
Yeah,
yesterday?
He's like the best player in USC. Or
I don't know. My thing is, what did he do for them besides win a Heisman? You know what I mean? He didn't take him to a playoff
Has anybody
game.
else? I mean, Bush
Reggie
did.
Bush, yeah.
But did he?
I think, but yeah, it's Reggie Bush though.
Oh my God, is that Jace?
But you can't. I mean, it's Reggie Bush. You can't say he wasn't good.
No.
I think Caleb Williams is good. I think he was one of the better quarterbacks we've seen in this generation.
Yeah.
But to say he's the best, I don't think so.
Some of his playmaking skills are just unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm taking the Bears in that game. I think they're going to get a sizable win in their first game out. And I think Caleb Williams is going to break that 15-1 record from first overall quarterbacks.
Yeah. So next we have Cardinals Bills.
Cardinals,
Really
Bills.
good game.
I'm actually excited for this game. I think the Bills aren't as good as years past, but I think they're still going to do
There
good.
is a lot of value because the Cardinals are at plus 240 and the spread's at 6.5.
I'm still taking the Bills.
You're taking the Bills?
Yes.
I would take the Cardinals.
The Cardinals defense sucks.
But what do the Bills have on offense besides?
Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And I think James Cook is one of the most versatile
Yeah.
and explosive running backs in the league right now. I think he going in the 5th round of some fantasy drafts
That's where I got
was
him.
one of the dumbest things
I
I've
picked
ever
him up
heard.
in all my. I saw him just sitting there.
Dude, one of my league, he's my RB3, and I was just like, I gotta take him. I got Breece Hall, Kyron, and James Cook as my running backs. I'm like, this is just stupid. And I still have Olave and Neighbors as my wide receivers.
So
This is a 12 team.
my thing with the Cardinals is it's just now a high-powered offense. You've got McBride, you've got Marv. James Conner was showing up last year, and at the end of the season when that team was producing with Kyler Murray back. So who knows? I think I'm gonna take the Cardinals on this game. You want the Bills, but I think the Cardinals can sneak out a win.
Yeah. Them sneaking out a win. I just think the Bills have just the better, well-rounded team, where I don't think the Cardinals are going to take that step week 1. I think about week 4, you're going to see Cardinals come full into stride and be a team that we saw a couple of years ago be kind of sneaky good.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to 98.5 WNUW-LP Aston. We'll be right back. We're going to finish up the lines for the next game and for the rest of the games for Sunday and Monday. And then we're going to get into some start-sits. So let's pick up where we left off.
We left off at Cardinals Bills, right? That was the last game we talked about?
Yeah, Cardinals Bills.
Now we have the Steelers Falcons. Another little. They're having it at 3. So, I mean, there's some value. Again, like I said, I think the Falcons are the better team overall. You just don't know how Kirk is going to perform with that injury.
Kirko Beans, he's going crazy.
I mean, it's just a high-powered offense. You've got Pitts. You've got.
You'd hope. I just think Bijan's a difference maker, and he's going to win them games when he's actually used.
The young
Drake London.
Yeah, I think he's going to be.
Like, Algier on any other team would be
a starter.
Like, I'd easily pick him first 5 rounds of my fantasy draft if I knew he's the starter.
Yeah.
Like, he's that good. He's an insanely good player. I'm looking forward to seeing him play this year. I think he's going to be used in tandem with Bijan and still not really crowd Bijan's touches, if that makes sense. I think he's going to be
more of like a third down back. Like, you're going to have Bijan for first and second down, and then
I think it's the other way.
Oh, you think he's going to do 1 and 2, and then Bijan comes in?
Yeah. Because Bijan, I think he's going to do like the 1 or just random touches throughout, but Bijan's like one of the best receiving backs in the league.
That's true, yeah.
I think he'll get to a lot of goal line work, sadly, for Bijan. But I could see them running both, have Bijan at like a slot position.
Yeah.
They also got Darnell Mooney out there, who I've never been a big Darnell Mooney fan, but you put him as a wide receiver 2 on an offense with Kirk Cousins, he's not going to be awful.
I mean, everyone isn't bought on Cousins, but I think he knows how to sling the ball. I mean, you saw he had Justin Jefferson 2 years ago and last year. But I think he knows how to throw the ball, and I feel like he's going to gain a lot of yards. So I think he's a perfect fit for this team. But them picking up Penix was just really weird to me.
One of the weirdest picks I've seen in a long time, especially because they could have traded down a couple spots and still got him.
But what's the point? You just paid all that money.
I don't even get why didn't they play him in preseason?
I don't know. Unless they're trying to get value out of him, but it just.
But maybe they don't think Kirk Cousins is ready for the regular season. I don't know.
And then on to the Steelers with Russell Wilson being the starter. I think they're gonna be good. I mean,
he's the best starting quarterback they've had in 4 years. He's better than, even though I don't think last year was the best year. You look at his splits; it's 26 touchdowns to 4 interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, who was he throwing to? Jerry Jeudy, was that
Sutton?
It? Yeah.
Well, Sutton was the best guy there, but like. With a bad offensive line, like I actually see this going kind of good for them.
Yeah.
I think he's probably the best quarterback they had since before Ben Roethlisberger fell off, so like 2020, 2019.
Yeah.
And they've managed to make the playoffs every year. So I think this is going to be the best year for them.
I think that comes a lot from the defense too. They just always have a great defense with TJ
So
Watt.
I think they might have fell off a little on defense this year. But yeah, I like them this year.
Next we have Raiders Chargers. Weird game. I'm not sure if I would actually touch this one just because they have the Chargers favored minus 160. But who do the Raiders even have anymore?
The Raiders?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate their offense. You look at their offense, they got Gardner Minshew, who's
That's
brought
right.
the Colts to the playoffs last year.
Who's their running back?
They got Zamir White at running back, who had a good end of camp. I mean, people are crapping on Zamir White. It's his third year. You really don't know what the guy's gonna like, how good he can be. But I mean, at the end of last year, you had almost 500 yards in 4 or 5 games. You still got Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
And then you got one of the most exciting players in the league, Brock Bowers, for this upcoming year.
Oh, yep.
Who's basically a glorified wide receiver. He's exciting. I mean, it's not like they got nothing. You know what I mean? Like, they're really making it out like the Raiders are gonna be like
The worst team in the league.
immobile on offense. No, the Patriots easily have a worse offense. But no, I still think there's plenty of room to have some scoring. I think like the over under at 40.5 is kind of interesting. Because neither team is that good defensively. I mean, the Chargers are okay, but I think this game could easily go over that.
I don't know. I don't know that though, because who does Justin Herbert have to throw to?
I mean, I think they're just gonna pound the rock. Their offensive line looks amazing this year.
I mean, Joe Alt
looks really good. I think they're gonna run the ball a lot. J.K. Dobbins, when he's healthy, is a really good player.
And then Gus Edwards is like your goal line back. He's gonna get you like 2 or 3 yards per rush.
It's not like you have nobody on offense. Josh Palmer. I mean, these guys aren't like your typical like superstars.
Yeah.
But you got enough on. You got Josh Palmer,
and
you got hopefully maybe if Quentin Johnston could catch a ball, he'd be a top 10 wide receiver.
Herbert's also just a great
and
quarterback.
Herbert's amazing. And then you can't forget about Lad McConkey. Like I think they're not gonna have as much issue moving the ball down the field with this run heavy play action offense as people think.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna take the Chargers covering at -3.
I do too. I just think their defense is better.
We have Broncos Seahawks next.
This is an interesting game for me.
It's they have the Seahawks -250 with a -6 spread.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna cover that spread. I think they'll smash
I
it.
do too.
But -6 for
who's the new Seahawks head coach? I think it's gonna be very interesting to see. Isn't it the Lions guy? Crap.
I forgot Pete Carroll. Mike McDonald.
Where was Mike McDonald before? Oh my God, I'm blanking.
He was a defensive.
I think the Seahawks are going to be very interesting this year because I think they're one of the teams that could fluctuate most in terms of how good they do. I think the Broncos won't be amazing this year, but Bo Nix is the perfect fit for Sean Payton, and I think their offense will be better than some people give credit for.
I think he's going to be a
guys.
sleeper for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are going to bet against him. I think he's going to do really well.
I mean, my guys, I'm taking Jaden Daniels most likely for Rookie of the Year. It's going to be a quarterback.
Yeah.
But
Bo Nix I could see him having
the most. He looked really good in preseason.
I could see him having the most yards out of, like a little controversial take, but I could see him having the most yards out of.
I mean, dude, he fits perfectly in that offense. He looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
He's already like 26.
He just seems
has
like
experience.
A bigger Russell Wilson, a taller.
He literally seems like a bigger Drew Brees.
That's what it is, yeah.
And fits him perfectly. Doesn't have the best arm ever, but can make the throws and is really smart. Like, he's very calm on the field. That's one of the things, like Drake May. He looks like his feet are kind of choppy. He has a much better arm. But Bo Nix has actually been a very, very big surprise to me that I've liked.
Yeah. So, like you said, I'm going to take the Seahawks at -6.
I am too.
I just feel
think
like
it's right there.
I think they beat them by a touchdown, if not more.
Yeah, I agree. Denver's just they're too much all over the place right now.
Too early for them to.
I think next year could be a huge year for the Broncos.
I think they need a stud wide receiver to put them above.
Dude, they had Tim Patrick, and then they let him go.
Well, they just let go Judy, Jerry Judy. He's at the
Judy
Browns
wasn't
now.
a right fit for them.
No, I mean
But,
Javonte Williams. I think is going to be really good.
I think Williams will be good. I think Sutton's good. I think they got some playmakers in McLaughlin.
Yeah.
Hopefully Mims can take a step up. And who's the young guy that they got? Troy Franklin. Maybe he has something, but we'll see.
And they just signed. I don't know if you saw. They signed Surtain to that 4-year deal.
Oh yeah,
Really big.
he's the best corner in the league.
yeah.
Him and Gardner.
I think
But
Gonzalez is better than Gardner. Honestly.
Nah, not yet. Not yet.
I like Sauce. I just think I don't know.
He's he's that perfect combo of size and speed. He's like TJ Woolen too for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Just probably a little better.
Next we have Cowboys Browns. It's plus 2.5.
I think this is gonna be a fun game.
I think it's a really good game. They have the Browns favored.
I think because they're at home, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it comes down to one player,
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think if he plays good and you get some vintage Deshaun, pre-allegations Deshaun, you have a very good Browns team.
Yeah, but it's just the Cowboys can't count them out. As much as I hate to say it, hate the Cowboys
I know,
more than I
but
hate the Eagles.
They
but-
don't win against good teams.
I don't know. They win against good teams. They just can't win in the playoffs. That's what I see them as.
Last year they didn't. It was them and the Dolphins had like a sub 33% win rate,
Yeah.
or however you'd say it. So I like the Browns here to cover that spread. I think they're gonna pound the rock. Hopefully, if Deshaun plays good, that's basically what you're betting on. If he plays good, I think they'll be very good.
Yeah, it's just the Cowboys are just so confusing because on paper they should be one of the best teams in the league.
But they got no running game this year.
Yeah.
They're shallow at wide receiver if Brandon Cooks plays.
Yeah.
But their defense is still very good.
The only thing is Trayvon Diggs, controversial take. I think he's horrible.
I don't think he's very good.
I think
he's a
just
great ball hawk.
I mean,
Yeah.
and he also a lot of his picks are
Cheers.
just yummy soda. I think a lot of his picks are just like balls in the air, like tip drill. I mean, anyone could be good at that. I mean,
Yeah.
you saw him get burnt by a third wide receiver 3. There was a video of, like
He's an all or nothing cornerback.
he's a
I
zone
think their other
coverage.
guy's better.
Yeah. The other one who led in picks
Bland?
last year. Yeah.
But I also think him too. It's just he goes
Same
for
thing.
picks.
Yeah, it's the same exact
But
thing.
it's aggressive. You play aggressive. You
Yeah, I mean,
take that risk.
You get the ball, but you're giving up a touchdown. You got to then gain a touchdown
Yeah.
from it. So,
But I don't mind them. I think they're both like if that's your 1-2 punch, that's a solid.
yeah, I'm gonna
Um,
take the Cowboys here.
I'm taking the
plus-
Browns.
I'm taking plus 2.5. I think they could
Yeah.
cover that. Next we have Commanders Buccaneers.
I just to go back real quick. I just think the importance of having your first game at home is huge.
Oh yeah,
So Commanders Bucks.
weird game. I
think the Bucks easily win this game,
yeah,
but
my cousin's a huge Bucks fan. Shout out Chris. I love the Bucks. I think Rashad White's really good. I think
I
a
do
lot of
too.
people. I picked him up in a
I
lot
think
of my
Bucky
leagues.
Irving's good too.
Yeah, I mean you have Mike Evans, who's
Baker,
Yeah.
Baker,
exactly Baker getting them
Baker.
that big playoff win last year against a depleted Eagles team.
I love
but,
Baker.
Yeah,
And they're moving Godwin back into the slot this year, which I think is going to be huge for Godwin's fantasy value.
mm-hmm. And I love Mike Evans, guaranteed 1,000 yards every year. I always pick him up in
I
fantasy
hate
when
Mike
he's there.
Evans.
Why?
He makes me so mad
Why?
because it'll just be one game you get 2 out of him, and then the next you get 40.
Yeah.
But then it's like when you really need him most, he disappears.
Yeah.
Nowhere to be found.
And then on to the Commanders.
I told you this earlier. I'm a huge Commanders fan. I mean,
Yeah, you got your Commander shirt on.
I wish the RG3 jersey still fit that I have, but it was a little tight.
But yeah, I think the Commanders are gonna be good. A lot of people have them in like second place of the NFC East. I don't think that's the case. I don't think they make that jump. My thing,
Jaden looks good, but
looks
he's still a
good.
rookie
He's a
quarterback.
rookie. He
They
had a lot
added
of-
the offensive line.
but they had a lot of wide receivers over
Yeah.
at LSU for him to throw to. I mean, Terry's good,
I think,
but who else? They just got rid of their wide receiver too. Who else do they have
yeah,
to throw to?
I think Noah Brown is going to be a guy really
Yeah.
to keep your eye on.
I think Brian
um,
Robinson is going to be a really good 2-back. Because
I
you
think
picked
he's going to
up,
be the starter.
you think over Joe. They picked up
Eckler.
Eckler. Okay.
He's going to be the starter.
So even Eckler at
He's
is
a-
crazy.
I always forget that 2 years ago, he's only in his 3rd year.
Brian
Brian Robinson.
That's what it is.
Yeah, he's only in his third year. I think he's gonna have a very good year. He's gonna explode. But I think it comes down to one person who's gonna have an insane year, who I'm gonna kind of get to later. But with the Commanders, when we talk our big bets, I got a big bet on this.
Their
Commanders
defense
game
is a little scary because they got rid of what's his face, that really good edge that they got from Ohio State. They drafted him first
Chase
round.
Young.
Yeah,
I didn't think he. The thing is, I thought he was that good, and then I just don't think teams think he's that good, or he'd be kept. Like, these defensive ends are like getting paid everywhere, but he wasn't. So kind of shows you something. But yeah, I'm taking the Buccaneers. I think the Commanders lose this first one away, but I think the Commanders are in store for a good season.
Yeah, hopefully.
I'm excited to get my Terry McLaurin jersey. I'll wear it to an episode. What's the next game?
We got
Sunday night football.
Rams line. I think this is a really
It's gonna be an exciting
great
game. Yeah.
They have the Lions highly favored at 225, and the spread's at 4.5. But I don't know, this Rams offense. Like I said, I was high on Kyron Williams.
I think the Rams offense looks great, and their defense.
Well,
yes, they lost Aaron Donald.
You have the Triple Crown winner from 3 years ago, who's fully healthy now, ready to play.
Yeah.
You've got Puka Nacua, one of the
best emerging wide receivers.
And then they got that Whittinger guy who they are talking about being the next Puka. They were saying he did really good in camp.
Really?
They got him late in the draft. I picked him up in a couple.
And then Demarcus Robinson.
Yep.
As much as like he's kind of just a random guy, he's a good wide receiver 3 for them. They still have Tutu Atwell sitting down there, who I thought played amazing last year.
And then you've got
Kyron Williams.
And behind him, you've got, I always get his name. Jason B.
Corum?
Blake Corum.
And then you got Stafford playing the Lions. I like the Rams here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I have the Rams to cover the spread. I don't know if they'll win the game, but I think it's coming down to the wire like every good Lions game does.
Yeah, and the points is 52.5. I think that gets smashed. I think these are
destroyed.
Two offensive heavy teams. Lions have an okay defense. I like Jeff Okudah.
They're good. They're getting better.
Him getting to the Giants. I was really hoping for that, but he's still on the Lions, right? Jeff Okudah.
Yeah, but he's not very good.
He's okay. I want
Hutchinson's the guy in that team, and
then the Lions are just another high-powered offense. Everyone coming back.
I mean, score. That's all. That's their mindset.
Throw the ball to Amon-Ra or just let Jahmyr Gibbs. But he might be hurt, so who knows what.
Yeah, but it's like, oh no, we lost Jahmyr Gibbs. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking credit away from Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's an explosive running back. You got David Montgomery, who I think looks really good. Way better than he looks a lot better than he did on the Bears, and I think it's for two reasons. I think one, you got better play style. You're playing on a team that fits you more behind a good offensive line. He looks like a running back reemerged. But that was the best decision for his longevity.
They were playing him at like a RB1. I think he's a great RB2. I think he's good as like a third down back. You know, if you need the yardage or like if you're 2 yards,
like a power back.
Yeah, I think they were playing him like he was Jahmyr Gibbs when he was on the Bears. You know what I mean? They were playing him every down.
He has that in him though. I just think when you surround him by that much like garbage, he's just gonna get destroyed over and over again.
Yeah. So like you said, I'm taking the Rams plus 4.5, and I would take the over. 52.5 is a little.
I'm taking the Rams too, and I'm taking the over. I think it's gonna be a very fun game to watch.
And then finally, we have Jets Niners.
Monday Night Football.
We know how Aaron Rodgers does on Monday Night Football, so let's see what happens this year.
Oh yeah, isn't he like notoriously bad?
Well, he tore his.
Is that when he tore his Achilles?
It was last year. Was 9/11.
I mean,
it was the big tribute to.
Oh yeah.
Because it was in New
York. He ran out with the flag.
And it was the big tribute to New York. Obviously, I'm gonna go 49ers here.
Yeah.
It's a 4.5 spread.
It's the Niners.
I think they're the best team overall. I feel like in football right now.
I'd say the Chiefs, but
if you look at roster wise, I feel like it's the 49ers with everything they have.
No, I can't go against Patty.
I think, but I could see where it's a fight.
Because
I mean, you saw
I think
last
the Chiefs' defense too. I mean, you just held one of the best top 5 offenses to 20 points. I mean, their defense is legit, and then. I mean, the amount of talent they had on offense. Yeah. When Hollywood Brown comes back, too, you're 5 deep on weapons.
Yeah.
And they got Juju. Juju Smith-Schuster's
Oh, here
back,
he goes.
baby. Did you see the one where instead of like getting his hands up and out,
He put on there and he
like
dropped it,
underwent
yeah.
it? Yeah. I'm like, dude, thank God the Patriots cut you.
I like the Jets. I think they're a really good squad. I think Breece Hall is a really good back. Garrett Wilson, I think is a
He's
little,
amazing.
I think Garrett Wilson's a little overhyped.
I don't.
think he's good.
I think he's really good.
I think he's good, but I don't think he's as good as people put him at top 5. I don't think he's top 5.
I think he's right up there. In my personal opinion, you just see some of the catches he makes, the separation on every single route. He is an amazing player.
But now you have a team that's fully healthy. So
And I don't know
got-
about top 5. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no,
think
I understand. But
He's
there's-
up there with the top wide receivers in that top
He could
tier.
prove it this year because last year, what does he have? He had Zach Wilson throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's like, I don't know. I think Rodgers does so much for this offense. It's just about everybody else keeping up. I think Lazard might be a guy who honestly is like a little under the radar right now, who might like be that wide receiver too. Just plays with Rodgers, and his career was made by just knowing Rodgers better than anybody else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm taking the 49ers here. It's gonna be a really fun game though, because the Jets have an amazing defense, loaded with talent, and I just think both teams this year are gonna win their divisions.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a toss-up between the Jets and the Bills, but
I'm smashing the over.
oh yeah,
43, like 20 per team basically.
Mm-hmm.
I think they get over.
I mean, Christian McCaffrey's still questionable, but
He's gonna play. He was a
Yeah.
full participant
yeah,
Tuesday,
He'll be
Wednesday,
fine.
Thursday. So it's also like Puka Nacua was listed as questionable for a while. He's gonna play. It's gonna be interesting to see if Brock Bowers plays.
yeah.
But I think he'll play. So yeah. Is that it for?
That was all the teams. That
All
was,
the
that was
teams,
the Monday
so-
night game.
It's gonna be a fun slate. Get back into it.
Let's throw a hammer parlay down there.
Renzo just texted. Ah shit, missed the.
Too bad.
Maybe next week then. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, Renzo will be back on.
but we'll be on next week and we'll tell you if our parlay hit or not. We'll throw it down a little.
Yeah, we'll
Everything
track.
yeah.
We should each do that. Like each week, bring our own like what we would have bet
We do
because
the
we don't
touchdown.
bet.
Yeah, we can't. We're not allowed.
Student athletes
Yeah.
here. Okay, so now we're gonna transition to our start sits for Sunday football. Of course, my Wi-Fi's working.
About time.
If you've listened to the podcast at all, you know my Wi-Fi never works in this room. Never. So we're gonna go start sits. Renzo goes. So I may or may not have totally forgotten that I'm an hour behind.
Oh, he's in Texas.
He's in
I
Texas.
Forgot.
I
Yeah,
forgot about that.
That's right.
So we're gonna transition to start sits for the week. I kind of looked at all guys who are in that range where you could play them or could not play them. I didn't really do any of the top guys because of course you're gonna play them. So we're gonna start with QBs. And by all means, when we say starter sit, this does not mean they're gonna do horrendous or do
Yeah.
amazing. These are guys we think could outperform their projection or underperform for their projection. So to start us off, one of the guys I have as start playing against the Detroit Lions. I had Matt Stafford.
That's a great pick.
When you're playing against a old team, like your old team, and they kind of shipped you out, like you have a vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he won, so maybe he doesn't have it as much, but I think Matt Stafford throws for 2 to 3 touchdowns. I think they're gonna be throw heavy.
I mean, you saw
With involving Kyron, of course. Actually, I don't know. They're gonna throw the ball a lot. They're gonna get all their weapons fed. So I have Matt Stafford as a easy start in this game.
I agree with you. You saw what Cooper Kupp was able to do back fully healthy,
I
and
think Kupp's healthy.
they were talking
Nakua's
about-
healthy.
they were talking about putting Kupp at wide receiver 1. A lot of people were taking Nakua in the first round, second round of the draft. I was picking him Kupp up like 4th because they considered making him the 1 again. So
It doesn't matter.
I mean,
They're gonna play. They're both gonna be out there
Yeah.
every single play.
I think it's gonna be a great.
It's gonna be interesting to see how they're used in tandem with like a whole like off season to prepare for
Yeah.
having both of them.
Yeah.
Because I think both of them can kind of stretch the field, but I think Kupp does much better on the long crossers where Puka really finds his game in the sweet spots, settling
Mhm.
in. But yeah, I love Stafford. if you have him, I'd start him over most of the guys. I'd probably have him near my QB 8-ish this week.
Yeah.
I don't think you start him over Allen or
No. But I don't know who
any
would
of those
have.
guys, of course.
You could get Stafford that late. For my start, I'm taking Kyler Murray. I feel like he's going to do really well. He got really hot. I mean, I have him in half my leagues.
I love
Murray because he's a Walmart Jalen Hurts or Josh
Especially
Allen.
if you're playing in a 4-point passing touchdown league where rushing yards matters so much more for quarterbacks.
I think he was doing really well last year when he was finally playing.
Yeah.
And the fact that he brought in Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride proved himself. He's got James Conner to throw the ball down,
I think
too.
Dortch and Wilson are both good guys.
Yeah.
I know I'm hoarding Wilson in a couple leagues. I think he's going to be the wide receiver, too. And I think Dortch could be really good, too.
And you've got against a Buffalo team that, I mean, they lost a lot of defensive players. I mean, you've got DeMar Hamlin starting this week. No offense to him, but, like, come on. He's not a player.
DeMar Hamlin as the starting safety is hilarious.
Yeah.
He's not very good.
No, he wasn't even good before the whole thing. No disrespect to him, but
like he's a good special teams guy and a good like fill-in safety. But
you remember they tried to run a trick play with him last year.
No.
It was like 4 yards. They it was supposed to be a punt, but they snapped it directly to him, and he ran and got like -2 yards. It's like, what are you doing?
And then I'm gonna throw in my other one because Renzo's in here. I have Baker Mayfield as one of my starts. I think him against an okay Commanders team, very young. I think he'll be a good guy to throw in there. He's one of the guys where I feel like he's kind of underrated in terms of how much production he actually has. Like he produces week in, week out, especially against some of these like subpar defenses. So if you need like a fill-in guy this week, I think Baker Mayfield is gonna be great.
I'm gonna throw a sit in here. I was looking at. I kind of don't like Aaron Rodgers this week. I don't know how many people are actually gonna have him. I know a couple guys have him in my leagues, but I don't know against a high-powered San Fran defense. You know, he's coming off the injury. It's
gonna
Aaron
be
Rodgers,
interesting. He hasn't played in 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, how long has it been since he's played? So that's the thing. You can't guarantee he's gonna be great. And he's gonna have a start. And like I said, playing a really high-powered defense that is just all over the place.
Yeah, I think it's not bad. I could see the game going either way for him.
Yeah. Don't kill me if I'm wrong.
He's 40 years old.
Yeah.
But like, it's definitely one of the guys I'm a bit more hesitant on.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I don't love playing rookie quarterbacks week 1 either. I like picking them, but I like pairing them with some of these guys who make our start list. So I have 2 sets. I got Brock Purdy against the Jets offense, which I low-key was thinking about that. I'm like, that might be dumb.
Sorry, defense.
Sorry. Yeah, you knew what I meant. Purdy, how do you sit him? I think it's going to be a big I think Christian McCaffrey's going to have 2 rushing touchdowns. And I think Purdy, I don't know. It's just the Jets defense is so good.
Well-rounded. You've got linebackers, you've got defensive tackles, you've got cornerbacks. And
like everything. Mm-hmm. So I think they do good, but I don't think he has – I think he throws at least a pick.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he really hits that high projection that a lot of platforms have him at. And the other one was Deshaun Watson. He just scares me.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, I think he's one of those guys where you could be like, I think he's going to do great to play him. I don't know. I just like the Cowboys defense. I think they're decent, and Watson scares me, and I think they're going to have a lot of rushing success.
He's known for throwing stupid balls, too. So,
exactly.
I mean, with 2 ball hawks like we talked about, I think it's bound for him to throw a pick.
Yeah, so Watson's one of those guys I would take a couple weeks on to really see how he
get into the groove.
Hands out, and then he could be a guy who ends up being a decent play.
Yeah.
So let's go to running back now. I have 2 guys at my running back for my start, Zamir White and Jerome Ford. Bouncing off of that Deshaun Watson take, I think they're going to run at least 2 touchdowns in and get those running backs heavily involved. For years now under Stefanski, I think they've had one of the most productive and best like schemed running games up there with the Dolphins.
Yeah.
So I think Ford has a big week and really produces. He really showed last year that he's a good runner and like honestly deserves to play. So I like Ford in this game against the Cowboys. And then Zamir White, I don't think the Chargers defense is amazing, and I think the Raiders are going to make a statement to run the ball.
Yeah.
So I like Zamir White this week.
I have flexes starts. As a Giants fan, I kind of like Singletary a little bit at the flex.
Yeah.
They're going to go.
I had Singletary. He was one of the guys I was debating with these other two.
The thing is, you're going to have him as an option, and they're going to go heavy on Malik Neighbors just because, it's
maybe
one of the better wide receivers, and the Giants finally have a wide receiver one, so they're going to try and feed him the ball. And not many people are going to expect Singletary because
Singletary's the only guy.
Yeah, they have Eric Gray, younger guy, and Tyrone Tracy is pretty.
I like Tracy as like a receiving back,
good.
but I think Singletary is going to be like
he's the clear
low-key
one.
workhorse.
And for 1,000 yards within.
I've always liked Singletary too.
Yeah,
he was just kind of a smaller guy, so he kind of bounced around.
Yeah. But he's young. He's young too. He's younger than Saquon. I think he's 2 years younger than Saquon.
Mm-hmm.
So to get him a lot cheaper, I know he's not Saquon talent, but like I said, he's gonna. Not a lot of people are gonna expect him to be run heavy just because you got Neighbors now. But I think they're gonna give him the ball. And then I have I have Tony Pollard against Chicago defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're very well at defending the pass. Chicago with probably one of the number one cornerbacks in the league. One of the best.
Johnson.
Yeah, I think he's a really good cornerback. And like you said, Will Levis only likes to throw the ball, but I think they're going to have to come out running the ball. So I think
that's going to be a very interesting game to see how the dynamic of that Titans offense works.
Yeah.
Because they got 2 running backs. I didn't realize Spears was a rookie last year. This is only his second year. But they did pay Pollard, so I think he's going to end up being the RB1. But it's going to be interesting to see how that usage works. I think both of them could be productive, but it's just, you're looking at not a lot of mouths to feed with Ridley and Spears and Pollard, but it's going to be very interesting.
And D-Hop's still on that team, right?
Yeah, but I don't think he's playing. I think he's hurt. They still got Traylon Burks, too.
That's who it is. And then I got to sit. Where is he? I have Aaron Jones. I think he's just not as good as he used to be.
Yeah.
I think that Giants defensive line is really good. I'm talking a lot about the Giants, but I think their defensive line is one of the better ones with Dexter Lawrence and Kayvon. And
yeah, they
Brian
definitely
Burns.
got a big force up front.
And then I
big
think
presence.
their linebacking core is pretty decent. It could be top 10.
Yeah.
I think Okereke is really good, and then Micah McFadden's young, and I think the two of them together is good. So,
yeah, I like Aaron. I still think Aaron Jones got something left in him, but I do think Ty Chandler's gonna steal a good amount of splits too. So I wasn't really in on him. I don't have him in any leagues. I could be completely wrong. I didn't really like where he was going in drafts. He kind of fell. I had a lot of high picks this year. I don't know. I never get good picks, but this year, the year where I think you could draft in the 8th spot and get one of the top 5 guys.
You were 1 in our league.
Dude, like literally, I was
you won it out of
I
there.
was 1, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 4, 3, 6.
Yeah,
those are like my drafts.
And
I'm like, come on, the one year where I think like I could actually draft 9 or 8 and get a guy like Justin Jefferson's.
Yeah,
which is outrageous.
One of my leagues, it was an 8-man, so a lot easier. But I was drafting, I think
barely even a league.
6th. I got Jay Jettas and Jamar Chase.
Yeah,
2 LSU boys. So and then I think I got Kyron Williams and James Cook. So,
yeah, but that's an 18 league. So
but even at 10, I don't think I drafted 1 in 1 league. But everything else, I was going either Amon-Ra. I was like 6. I was getting Amon-Ra, or I was going
which
CeeDee Lamb.
I know this kind of tails off from our start sit, but the disrespect on Justin Jefferson right now. The guy's averaged 22 points a game with a backup quarterback.
Yeah,
he is that good. Like, he's quarterback proof. No matter what happens. I don't know how people are ranking him outside of their top 4 receivers. Like, when we were going to do our ranking show, I still had him as my wide receiver 1.
I don't know how.
Which I wouldn't have left, but he's my wide receiver 2. Yeah. Like, he's right behind. I think CeeDee's going to have a great year just because of no other targets.
But you pick him in the first round. I don't know how you're going to sit him. I get why pick him in the first round? There was other options if you're going to, you know what I mean? That's
if you're not going to, I just don't know how people are like out on him.
Yeah.
I don't know. My sit for running back is Austin Eckler. I don't think he's even the RB1.
No.
I don't know if he's the goal line back, which he might be because he's very good on the goal line.
Yeah.
I think he'll get receptions, but I think Brian Robinson had a really good camp. And I really like Brian Robinson for this upcoming year.
He proved himself last year.
Oh, yeah.
We traded in fantasy last year. You got him from me, right? That was it?
Yeah, it was a good trade for me. It was better than the other one where I traded, like, Mostert and somebody else for Bijan,
Nice.
and then Bijan pooped.
Stunk.
That league was crazy. I finished second in points for and came in third to last. But yeah, versus a pretty good Buccaneers defense. I don't think Eckler's going to have an amazing game.
No.
And I think they're going to try to get Jaden Daniels going. So we're going to see what happens.
So on the receivers now, I have 2 starts. Like you said, Chris Godwin. I think he's going to be a key start for that team. Right now they have him at 14 points projected, but I
Yeah.
think he's going to do really well. I think he'll get the touches. I think he'll split with Evans. But and then I have Terry McLaurin. We were talking about this. He was falling in a lot of drafts, which was
and
crazy.
the thing is, I would have taken him. Like, I took him over T. Higgins in a league. Like, I would have taken him over T. Higgins, Flowers, like that range. I would have taken him above there.
Well, Higgins is a wide receiver too, and for McLaurin to be the wide receiver 1 and average 1,000 yards with, what was that, Heineke on your shirt? Like,
The GOAT.
come on, like seriously.
I
to
wasn't
be able
that
to-
big of a Heineke fan, but I love Terry McLaurin.
No, but that's the thing.
He's- I'd easily say he's a top 5 wide receiver in terms of talent. Like, I don't know any guy. Like, the only guys I really think run better routes than him are Justin Jefferson and Amon-Ra. Like, I think he's that good of a route runner.
Yeah.
And some of the catches he makes are just flat out
Crazy,
stupid.
yeah.
I mean, maybe you should say maybe it's like, I don't know what they're game planning for, like why he hasn't got the ball more, but he's that good.
Yeah.
My 2 guys were Cortland Sutton. I think that as we talked earlier, that Denver Broncos offense is going to be a little more productive than we thought. And my other guy was Jameson Williams. I think that game's going to be a shootout, and Jameson Williams looked prime for a good year.
Yeah.
Finally playing to start the year, and the speedster, I think he looks really good, and Camp Reports has him hyping him up, and he wants to achieve big things. So, and then I'm just going to go straight with my set. I think Jordan Addison, you have legal feelers, you have
he's out,
ankle
isn't he?
injury, and Sam Darnold, where I think Justin Jefferson's QB proof. I don't think Addison is. So
He's already
a
out
big
though,
set.
right?
It's questionable.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I remember him getting hurt.
If he's
No.
out, then I definitely set him, and I'd be right on the nose.
Yeah. I don't know for a sit. I was looking at a couple of them. I wasn't sure. I was thinking DK Metcalf. Just 'cause-
I don't think you can sit DK, especially on. I think Seattle's gonna win this game.
Yeah, but you've got, like you said, Surtain got paid, so now he's
Mhm.
gonna. I think he's gonna play like he's the highest paid cornerback in the league.
You never know how they're gonna match up though.
Yeah,
on
you don't
that.
know if he's gonna match up 1-on-1. But yeah, there's a couple guys that are looking at. I was gonna say. I almost was gonna say what's his face last night. Worthy. Just because of rookie, but I'm glad I didn't say that because he showed me on that. I sat him in my league. But
Yeah.
I didn't expect him to be any.
He
coming out of the
he
gate.
definitely has his role as the speedster, and that Kansas City offense is looking very good.
Yeah.
Let's just go to tight ends. My start this week, and I don't know if I'm saying I would start him over my sit guy, but I have Parkinson from the LA Rams.
Okay.
I think Colby Parkinson's one of those guys where him, Disley, and Fant were all splitting with the Seahawks last year on a team that didn't really target their tight ends, and now he's on a team with the Rams that love throwing to their tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Parkinson's in for he'll be a great sleeper this year, and especially in week 1 in a game that I think is going to be high scoring. I could see him getting 3 catches for 30 yards and a touchdown, or 5 catches for 60 yards. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I see him with the ability to easily get over 10 points.
I have for my start, I have Dalton Schultz. A lot of people were passing him up, which was crazy
Yeah.
to me in fantasy. I got him as
yeah.
my backup in a couple leagues.
I think the big fear is just how many guys there are to give the ball, because he's really like the 5th option on that team.
I think he could prove himself to be honestly the 3rd. I think he could overstep Stephon.
Nah, I don't know about.
It's hard because they're playing Indianapolis, who doesn't have good linebackers.
Yeah.
So now he's going to be going up against some soft coverage probably against guys who shouldn't be covering him. He's fast, he's shifty, so
It's gonna be interesting to see how they decide to really, because no one of those wide receivers should really be like the one, because they have so many. It should really just be who has the best matchup that game,
yeah.
and then just picking that one apart until they change it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you keep hitting the next guy.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting to see if that's how they do it or not. I really like their coach,
Mm-hmm.
so I like that. I'm not against that play. My sit is David Njoku. I think Njoku is one of the better tight ends in the league. I just think with Watson, he was inconsistent, and you're playing the team with the 4th ranked defense against tight ends last year. I just think it's not a great matchup, and it's kind of scary.
My sit was Tyler Conklin. A lot of people were going high on him.
Is he with the Jets?
Yeah, he's the
Right.
Jets tight end. Like I said, against the San Fran defense with probably the best linebacking core, some of
In
the
the
best,
league, yeah.
some of the best corners. So I think they're gonna not allow him. And I mean, you're a run-heavy team with Brees
Mhm.
Hall, and you've got Garrett Wilson, and like you said, all those wide receivers.
Yeah.
So I think he's gonna be underused heavily. I think he's good, but I don't think he's as good as people assume
Yeah.
he's going to be.
I agree, and I don't think did Aaron Rodgers really ever target his tight end that much?
When he had what's his face, he did like his tight end. Who was the bald Jimmy Graham?
Oh
Right.
yeah, for the season he had
But
Graham,
it was Graham.
but that was like one season.
yeah, and he was really good.
and like he does, but he's just not one of those guys. I think he loves his tight end.
Yeah, I mean the
And
thing with
the Jets don't really ever. They never really had game plans that targeted their tight ends, but at the end of the day, this is a completely different Jets team than we're used to.
The thing with Conklin is he's taking a lot of people are starting him, and like he was taken late in the rounds. But I think there's so many.
He's
other
definitely
options.
a decent sleeper, but I don't know
think
if I
there's-
love him this week.
There's a lot better options for tight end.
Like I would
over him.
easily go with Parkinson over him this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that wraps up our betting lines and picks for the week, and also our start sits. We're gonna come back with our big bets segment, which we're gonna pick out some of our favorite players and bet what we think they're gonna do for this next season. We're gonna be back right after the break. Thanks for listening. 98.5.
Technical difficulties.
And we're back, 98.5. You're listening to Champ Talk. We're talking our big bets segment. So basically how this is going to work is we're going to pick a player and we're going to make a bet on him. We're going to say basically I think this guy will finish with these stats or be this number. Talking fantasy football here. So my big bet, I think Terry McLaurin's going to finish as a top 12 wide receiver. He's going to finish the year with 100+ receptions and 8+ tight ends. I love Terry McLaurin this year. He's one of my favorite players. He probably is my favorite player in the NFL. I mean, I've talked about him earlier in the show. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league. I can't say enough good things about him. Finally got a stable quarterback. Finally got a guy who can air it out. And I'm not even the biggest Jaden Daniels truther. I think he's going to be good this year. I think he looked good in preseason. But Terry McLaurin, I mean, I said it earlier. I was trying not to talk about him a lot, but
Yeah.
I think he's one of the best route runners in the league, one of the best hands receiver. I think he'd easily be a top 5 receiver if he had a real quarterback, which I think he will this year. I love his potential. We're going to circle back to all these at the end of the
Yeah.
year and talk about
What we
where
did.
we're going to have to get Renzo's and maybe make a post about it, but I love Terry McLaurin for this next year. I really just look at him as one of the guys who continually gets underutilized in an offense, and this year he's he's always been the true number one, but he's the number one, has no real competition.
Yeah, I mean, Jahan Dotson out of there now, so
And I think they're going to make it a point with a new coach this year to get him the ball because he is that good. I mean, he got paid like he's that good.
well, I mean, and to get 1,000 yards, like we were saying, with nobody's at quarterback, I mean, that's still an impressive thing to do, especially in a hard division. You're playing the Eagles twice with great cornerbacks. You're playing Dallas with decent cornerbacks.
Yeah.
And mean, the Giants' defense isn't great, but to still play those two teams twice in a season, I mean, that's difficult to get to. For mine, little sleeper that no one had, I feel like James Conner is going to finish at least top 10 to 12 in running backs. I think if he stays healthy. I think as long as he's healthy,
I agree.
I think he could be top 10 easily, even maybe like top 7. I think he'll be a good pickup. Like we were talking about, you took him in the league. I was kind of mad because I kept getting him in other leagues.
Did I get him in that league?
I think you got him.
I
You
forgot
took,
about
you took
that.
Terry and James Conner back to back.
I
when
did.
You did have one. But you saw last year when he got healthy, he was playing well with Kyler. I mean, they had Josh Dobbs.
I thought you said James Cook for some reason. I
No.
did take James Conner.
Yeah, James Conner. Like I said, to be able to produce, I like their head coach. I think he's really good. He was really good with the Eagles. Took them to the Super Bowl. Great offensive coordinator. So for him to run an offensive-heavy team, I think that's going to be great for him, and I think he's going to get a lot of touches.
Yeah, I think people are kind of scared off by Trey Benson, but I think this is Connor's year still. I think he's continually been undersold. I had him as my RB18. I think he could, and I said it in that ranking show we did about a month ago. I think he could easily be higher than that.
Yeah.
I like him a lot as a running back, and I think he fits really good in this with this offensive coordinator and how they run the show. So I think it's all about him staying healthy, like you said. So
Yeah.
I could easily see him finish as a top 10 running back. My next big bet is on Jonathan Brooks, the Carolina Panthers running back. I have that he'll finish as a top 10 running back from weeks 10 to 17. I picked him up in as many places as I could. Right near Nick Chubb, I tried to get either one of the two in every single league I had, because you're picking a guy that would have gone in rounds 2 through 4.
I mean, Chubb would have went round 1 if he was fully healthy. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, like you're picking up guys who are in the top 3 to 4 rounds
And
easily.
I mean,
At that point in the year, who are going to be heavily utilized. I mean, Jonathan Brooks was hurt, and they still took him as the number 1 running back. And at Texas, he showed, even behind Bijan, how good he was. So I think he's just another guy to come out of that offense, and he's going to be electric.
I mean, what you're probably getting him round 14 or 13, 14 in the. So
I was taking him round 9.
see, I remember him was sitting at like 13.
It matters what type of league you're in. If you're in like a serious league, I think
Yeah.
he goes earlier.
But like you said,
But if you draft off ADP, I think you get him a little later.
get him at 9, it's still a good pickup.
Yeah.
Like you said, you lose him. Same thing with Chubb. You lose him for 4 weeks. Big deal. You get him back.
But then
have
if you can get
stable-
Chuba Hubbard or
I mean, it's hard to
Ford
find.
with them,
It's hard to find running backs.
yeah.
Because some perform, some don't. Wide receivers easier to get. I feel like for a running back, it's hard to get a good
Yeah.
running back.
But that's my big bet. I think Jonathan Brooks is going to finish as a top 10 running backs from weeks 10 to 17. Improved offensive line when he got the best Dolphins run blocker. And I think he'll be heavily utilized. I think he's much better than the other 2 running backs. And by the time he gets back in week 6, or is it 4 or 6? Because he's on the pup.
I know Chubb is 4. I'm not sure
So
about Bro.
he's out 4 weeks, and then I'm giving it about 4 to 6 weeks for him to get back into it, and I think weeks 10 through 17 he's gonna run off like Jahmyr Gibbs did last season.
Yeah. So I have another big bet. We talked about it earlier. I think Bo Nix could be potential top 15 in quarterbacks. I think he's really good. I think he's smart. He's an older guy. What is he, like 25?
Yeah,
Something like that. I think he's going to be really good on that team. Like I said, I think he could be one of the better rookie quarterbacks. I don't think he's going to outperform Daniels or Williams, just because Williams has so much offensive threat
yeah.
on his team. Like, he's got to perform with that team. But I think Bo Nix is a sleeper. A lot of people don't think he's going to do that well. I have him playing pretty decent with that team. Like we said, he compares to a lot of pro players that have been through the league, and like you said, Drew Brees and Sean Payton
He'll fit perfectly
him
in
and
there.
Drew Brees went to the Super Bowl, twice? 1, 2, 1, something like that?
Did they?
They won 1. I don't know if it was 2.
Yeah, I only think they won 1, but I'm
But-
not sure.
I think he could finish top 15 in quarterbacks. I think he should
Yeah.
be decent. So
And my last big bet Kyler Murray will finish as a top 4 fantasy quarterback.
Yep, let's go.
I mean, I have so much to say that I can't say it about Kyler Murray. I mean, especially in leagues where you have 4-point passing touchdowns, I think he's going to be right back to where he was running the football. He's going to be productive both on the ground and in the air. I think I saw a stat that said he had over 30 or 40 rushing yards per game at the end of the year last year. So, in the year he came back midway through the year from ACL, he was running the ball. Yeah. So I'm not worried at all about him and his rushing upside this season. You added Marvin Williams. You really sorry.
You're good.
I mean, you added Marvin Harrison Jr. You added, you really cemented that relationship with Trey McBride and Michael Wilson. And you got Greg Dortch. I think he has plenty on offense. And as we talked about, James Conner will be great from the rushing attack. Plus Trey Benson. Like, this team is looking a lot better. I think they could get back to the point they were a couple of years ago. I think people really forget how good Kyler Murray is of a true passer. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't see many guys put better touch on their footballs than Kyler Murray. I'd put him up there with almost any other quarterback. Like,
I mean, I don't know if you remember when he had D-Hop. He was making crazy plays, like rolling out to his left as a righty and then throwing on the run. Like,
exactly. Like, he has so much talent. Mm-hmm. And the only thing is, like, he's short, but whatever.
He's fat, he's quick, he's elusive.
He's so good.
Yeah.
He has the running upside that you look for in fantasy quarterbacks. He's a great thrower. I think he could easily finish as a top 4 quarterback. I really only see Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts having an easier track. But, I mean, you look again last night, the Chiefs put up 27 and Mahomes only finishes the game with 16 points, and that's with a reception.
Yeah, interception,
his reception. Do you see his catch?
Oh, I did hear about that. My final big take, I think Jonathan Taylor is going to end up being RB1 this year. I think just...
Who? Taylor?
Jonathan
He's
Taylor.
Going to be the RB1?
I think he's going to be RB1. I think he's got a great upside.
It's more like it. That's a big bet right there.
I know. You like that? I think just a receiver. He's a great receiver. You have Anthony Richardson back. I'm not bought on Anthony Richardson.
I'm not either, but I think the run game will be...
it'll be there.
Positively affected by it.
And they've got the threats, so they'll take an eye off of him because you've got Pittman. You know what I mean? You've got Pittman there to catch the ball. So I think Jonathan Taylor...
And you still got Downs and Mitchell, who I both think are good players.
Yeah. So like I said, I think he if he's not 1, he's top 3. But I think he could finish at the number 1 spot. The only person I see above him is CMC, just because it's Christian McCaffrey. You can't...
I think Breece Hall and Bijan I'd still draft over him. But seeing him finish as the RB1, I mean, it wouldn't shock me.
No.
So, I really like him. I think he's on a team that will utilize him right. Like, I think they're back to their old way of running the ball. And this is his first season where he's truly fully there all preseason since his RB1 campaign 2 years ago.
Remember what he did? Look at what he did last year when he got back. He was averaging, I think, 100 yards on the ground.
Good. So. And I think he's an underratedly good pass catcher.
Yeah.
Like,
South Jersey represent. He's from Salem.
No, whatever.
Wow, that's messed up.
Jersey boys.
Yeah.
Losers.
We don't have a lot from Jersey, so we gotta take what we can get.
Because we got everything from New Hampshire.
No, but we have a Super Bowl champ from Corey Clements, another Jersey guy.
We got Adam Sandler.
Whatever. You can have that one.
I couldn't tell you anybody else from New Hampshire who's a celebrity.
Tom Brady. Not from New Hampshire.
He's from California.
Same difference. he's a New Hampshire native now.
Have you heard the things where it's like he's like not from Boston? Have you seen that commercial?
No, you have. You know who you have? Mark Wahlberg.
He's Mass.
He's Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Same difference. I consider that all the same area.
If you're from, like, southern New Hampshire, that's basically northern Mass. Like, I think I'd group myself more with Mass than I would with, like, northern New Hampshire hikey people.
You've got those boys from Boston, the TikTokers. You see the...
the Pointer Bros.
I love them.
They're some of the best. I love their like the side. Oh my god. I watch their stuff all the day.
When they have the New York guys come in too, always talking about the deli and stuff. I love those guys.
Oh yeah, they're hilarious. But yeah, those wrap up our big bets for the year. We're gonna come back to those at the end of the year. So we got Terry McLaurin finishing as a top 12 wide receiver, Jonathan Brooks finishing as a top 10 running back from weeks 10 to 17, Kyler Murray finishing as a top 4 quarterback for me, and then for Justice,
Jonathan Taylor, number running back 1. What else did I say?
Bo Nix as a top 15
Top
quarterback.
15, and then
And who's your wide receiver bet?
who was it? I'm lost. I don't think I did a wide receiver. I thought I only did 2, right?
No, you did third, but we'll come back to it at the end of the year. You got anything to wrap us up with?
No, I think it's going to be an exciting year. I'm glad football's finally back.
I'm ready for football.
Yeah.
I signed up for a pickleball tournament this weekend, on Sunday, which I can't really be mad about because it's pickleball, and that's an easy win for me and C. Hurley.
Sure,
what I
sure.
mean? Me and Curly. But it ends at 2, so I'm gonna have to watch on my phone while I'm playing.
Oh, you're gonna go one hand,
which won't be that hard, but like.
And there's a couple of good games in the morning. But to switch up, I don't know if you're a big college football guy. Texas,
Michigan. Yeah.
I can't watch.
I'm not a big college football guy. I got to get into it more.
For me, it's just something to watch.
I'll
on
watch
Saturdays.
the big games.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to the Rutgers game at the same
Yeah.
time, which kind of sucks, but that's gonna be a really good game. I think
Sure.
a lot of good. I think it's gonna be Texas all the way, but
A lot of
Michigan-
running.
No.
Oh, they're playing Texas.
Quinn Ewers.
I really like Quinn Ewers. He was one of the first quarterbacks where I really followed out of high school. It's like Trevor Lawrence I followed out of high school. That's why I like those guys a little more. But maybe you get to see some Archer Manning because Rutgers isn't very good.
No, they're not playing Rutgers.
Wait, who are they?
Texas is playing Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to the Rutgers game, so I can't. Wish I was going to be able to watch it, but it's like you said, good game.
Yeah.
Arch should be. I can't wait for him to actually start playing. I'm a huge Manning fan. I love Peyton, of course.
I hate the Mannings as a Patriots fan.
Oh, that makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Until they got out of football, and I love Peyton and Eli. I think they're hilarious.
I love their Monday night.
Their Monday night show is funny.
Yeah.
Their commercials are stupidly good.
I don't know if you saw Eli. Going off topic, Eli got an Instagram.
Did he?
He just
Did you see Bill Belichick on Instagram too?
Eli's Instagram was a bunch of pictures of him and Peyton, but he cropped Peyton out halfway so you could see a little bit of Peyton, but it's like, I think I learned how to crop, and it was like the funniest, because Eli Manning's like not a social media guy.
I love the Mannings. They're hilarious. It's like, have you seen Dan Campbell's Applebee's commercial?
Yeah.
That one's funny.
And then he's like, you got to cover your mouth so they can't steal your... I saw that for the first time last night, actually. I think that was...
Yeah, those are so good. Anything with the Mannings, his SNL skit where he just is beaming the kids in the back of the head on Thanksgiving or whatever it is.
Well, him when he did
that one's hilarious.
Who was he calling out? When he did his whole... remember the roast when they do the FCs or whatever? They always have someone
do a roast.
The roast
of Tom Brady.
It was No, not the roast of Tom Brady. It was like when he was the host of like the awards or something.
Oh, the ESPYs?
Yeah, and he was roasting a bunch of people. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, they're two of the personalities where it's like once you get out of football, they're just perfect for it.
I think Tom Brady's another good one too. I think he's getting big.
He annoyed, like low key, even as a Patriots fan, I like Tom Brady and I really like his takes. Like I think he's very accurate and true.
Yeah.
And he'll just say whatever he wants because he can. But I don't know. Sometimes how he holds himself and talks, it kind of annoys me. But
who knows? Well,
thank you guys for listening to Champ Talk. This was 98.5 WNUWLP Aston. We'll be back maybe next week, but definitely in 2 weeks to talk more football. We're excited to get going for the opening of the fantasy season.
Also keep an eye out for the TikTok. We're going to start that up again, get some videos out for you guys. So
make sure you follow. So you listen to Champ Talk. We're signing out. Thank you for listening.
Yep, see you guys.